Hello, today I'm here to talk with you about the Trecena of Aq'ab'al. Found myself a little clearing in the woods. Found myself this really cool hollowed out tree stump to talk from. Seems like a good idea. Let's see if I'll be granted the peace and quiet to make this video in one go. So, the Trecena of Aq'ab'al. Bringing new concepts into the world. Now, I don't know whether I've mentioned this, told this kind of story before, and maybe some of you, if you've been following me for a long time, will actually kind of remember the very first day that I wrote about, which I think was 19th of November of 2015, if I remember rightly, was the day one Aq'ab'al. Okay, I began my whole exercise, as it were, in communication, in getting what I understand about the calendar out into a wider audience with the Aq'ab'al Trecena. And of course, one Aq'ab'al being the beginning of the new concept. Now, I'd been advised to do this, been advised to get what I knew out into the world. And I thought about the way that I was going to do that. Would it be a book? Well, that would be nice, but I don't quite have the attention span for that. The patience, I have to admit. And so it was advised to me, well, why don't you write a blog? Why don't you do it day by day, as it were? Well, okay, I think I can probably do that. And so I went through my first sequence, as it were, through to somewhere in about, was it like July, August of 2016. And I wrote my 260 days, and I wrote my first cycle. And as I came up to the 260 days, kind of like the days are going to be the same. So, as you probably see, like what it was 260 days ago, it doesn't change a lot. It's going to be the same kind of thing. So I got round to the end of it. And I read the first posts that I'd been writing. And I'm like, I don't quite feel like this is the way that I want to express that now. And so I built the next layer. And of course, why am I saying about this? Well, this is the way that I see it with Aq'ab'al. It's about getting a new concept out there. If we think about it as a cycle of gestation, this is the new conception coming in. And that conception is going to take 260 days to bring it back to the same point again, where it's going to then move up a level. And we might decide, right, okay, we've woven this layer and now it's time to weave the next layer, and so on, adding on and moving through it. So it's a great time to be beginning a new project. That might be a long-term project, a project with longer goals, rather than just something you're going to complete tomorrow or, in the next week or so. And like, what are you going to do over the next 9 months? What new concepts might you want to bring in? Because this could be an ideal time to get them moving. Now we're going to begin, of course, on the day one Aq'ab'al, and for me, this is the first spark of the new concept. It's a long way from being finished, right? This is kind of like, you might be just organizing how you're going to do it. Let's say that if it was a new creative project, you might be making a list of the materials that you might need in order to bring this together or something like that. It's just the first inkling that's coming through from the dream to be manifested into this world. So what is it that you want to do? Maybe what new project might you want to take on over the next 260 days? What are you going to conceive today on this day, Aq'ab'al, that you're going to birth in 260 days' time? Okay, doesn't need to be finished. It's just a sketch. It's just on the back of a, whatever, a paper bag or whatever, kind of sketch of an idea, of a possibility that you might bring in. But you got to start somewhere, right? And that is the day to do it. The one Aq'ab'al. It's like having that spark that's going to take us forward. So what a great day to get that concept. Like just begin to get it into reality. Begin to illuminate it. After one Aq'ab'al, we then go into two cat. And this is a day, well, I was saying kind of like get your stuff together or whatever it might be. But in this new project, you might need to make some very strong decisions about what you want to take with you and what you want to leave behind, what's relevant to the new project and what's not. And this can be something, of course, it's a great exercise to go through in many ways at any point in time, isn't it? What do you need to hold on to? Are you really carrying what is propelling you forward on your journey? Are you really carrying what you need for your new concept in your bag? Is there some stuff that might be time to let go of? Well, cat days I often see as good days on which to declutter, on which to release yourself from things that you might not necessarily need to carry anymore. And on this two cat day, that might bring that into a really, really clear choice, clear-cut choice. It's a very yes-no day, because that two is very binary in its nature. It's heads or tails, it's 1 or 0, it's yes or no. There is no in-between. I think that as I was writing about this day, the phrase that came up for me is there's no maybe pile. If you're working with something where you're sorting out things that are, I don't know, around your house or something like that, you've got the stuff that you definitely want to keep, you've got the stuff that is definitely ready to let go, and then you've got the stuff in the middle that you're kind of like you're deliberating on, you kind of like, you think that it's probably done its time, but there's that sentimental reason why you want to hang on to it or something like that, and you kind of get in a little bit two minds as to whether you want to let go of it. That pile doesn't exist on 2Cat, okay? It's, yes, it is useful, no, it's time to let it go, okay? And so it can be in some ways quite, I was going to say sort of like stark or harsh or brutal with the kind of like decisiveness that you have to use on 2Cat as to whether you're going to hold on to it or let it go. Is it going to be something which you can incorporate into what you're creating now, or is it something you really need to just let go of? Okay, so 2Cat may well bring up decisions of that kind of nature. From 2Cat, we then go into 3Can. So Can, a day of power and wisdom. Can, a day of teachers. All of those things that we associate with the body lightning, the life force energy that moves through us, that brings us wisdom as we work with it. Can, the Oneal of wisdom itself, the wise old serpent that teaches us and empowers us. And here we could see it combined with the number 3, the number 3 representing the home and representing the place which is within us. Now, I know this is going to kind of like, let's say, come out as a bit of a cliche, but searching for the teacher within, finding the teacher within, that's an excellent use of a 3Can day, okay? Because that 3 might represent, kind of like when things, they sort of stutter, they sort of stumble on the outside. You can't quite get it to move the way you want it to. Why? Because it's trying to tell us it's supposed to go within. Okay, so if you're looking for wisdom coming from the exterior on a 3Can, you probably aren't going to find it. It's a day to really kind of like go into what wisdom you already hold, what the teacher within you can show and help and empower you with, in order to, kind of like go through this process of bringing that new concept into the world, drawing on the wisdom that you already carry, rather than going looking for something new. From 3Can, we then go into 4Kame. So again, we're kind of like, we're going into new territory here, new concepts coming in, right? And as the new concepts come in, then of course they're going to bring up some new issues, aren't they? They're going to bring in some new things that we might not have faced before. And sometimes, kind of like, okay, we're going into a time of new concepts. We've, made it very clear what we want to hold on to, what we want to let go. We've gone to the wisdom within, and now we're ready to face our physical fears, because this is something that 4Kame will bring up for us. Okay? Yes, we have the connection with the ancestors, and it's a great day to connect physically with your ancestors. You know, if you wanted to go visit their tomb, their grave, or whatever, then 4Kame is a great day to go connect with them in that very physical way. Go put some flowers on the grave and that. But I also see with 4Kame, it's about facing our physical fears. Now, when we go into a new project, when we go into a new concept, it's always going to bring that kind of thing up. Is this something which is going to, well, bring me benefits? I mean, that's the first thing that we might ask about anything that we do. Is this something that I really want to do? What about having to face this? What about having to get over that challenge that is probably going to come up if I take this on? Well, all of those things come forwards. And 4Kame gives us the opportunity to, well, I was going to say, kind of like look at them in a very regular kind of way and say, okay, yeah, all right, I can see it. I can understand a practical way to overcome that challenge. I can understand that, you know, kind of like, yes, it might be about fears in the physical realm, but it might also bring you a practical understanding of how to overcome those fears. And perhaps by connecting with your ancestors, this can make that even more tangible. Okay? So, of course, overcoming those fears is then going to lead to a much more impressive transformation, let's say, you know, a spiritual transformation. So, you know, it's kind of like if there was something you were physically fearing, then 4Kame is a great day to go out and say, right, okay, it's time to face the music, to take the bull by the horns, or whichever phrase you want to use with regards to that kind of thing, and put some effort into overcoming that fear. From 4Kame, we then move to 5 Kirch. So we see Kirch, the wilderness, connecting with nature, connecting with the animal kingdom as well. We see 5 also kind of representing there is spiritual leadership that comes out of there, because of course, you know, the true spiritual leaders connect with the wilderness. They connect with the natural way of the world, of the life of the natural world. This is what gives them their strength, helps them to come into balance. And we see it here with the number 5 representing work. Okay, now, well, wherever we want to go, we're going to have to put some work into it. Okay, putting our work into leadership, putting our work into our connection with the natural world. Obviously, this might be a great day for a strenuous hike in the woods. That might bring you kind of like what you are needing from it. But one of the things that I see with Kirch as well is that it reminds us of determination, the determination that we see in the natural world, in nature, the determination to survive and to grow. And here, this is combined with an input of energy, and so, you know, kind of like I think that 5 Kirch is showing us that we're going to need to put our effort into that, having that determination to see our new project through. And so sometimes, yeah, it might bring up some challenges. Again, I'm talking about challenges, right? But maybe it's kind of like saying, right, okay, put your work into connecting with the natural world, because it's going to help you to understand how to be determined within what it is that you're creating, how to, you know, see it through. Because with the 5 days, it's really a teacher that things don't often drop in our lap. It's nice if they do, but they don't generally. We're going to have to put our effort into them. And here it's about putting our effort into connecting with nature to bring us the strength that it takes to go through with our project. From 5 Kirch, we're then moving into 6 Oneal. Well, a few of you may have heard me talk about 6 Oneal. I consider it to be a very, very fortunate day. We have Oneal representing the brightness, the ripening, the yellowing, representing abundance. And here combined with the number 6, well, the number 6 we could see as being a very stable number. We can see it as representing the physical plane of existence connecting with the heart of the sky and the heart of the earth. And so it's kind of like drawing on heaven and earth and manifesting it into the physical realm, and that is connected with the Nawal, which represents ripening and abundance. I mean, you can understand why I would see that as a particularly fortunate day. Of course, it's a great day to be doing anything with the garden, because Oneal and its connection with plants is very strong. Harvesting, planting, pretty much whatever you want to do should work rather well on the day 6 Oneal. But it's more than that, because Oneal is about bringing everything to ripeness. It's about bringing our hearts to ripeness. It's about bringing our projects, our plans and our ideas to ripeness. And of course, as we're starting out on this new quest, this new project, this new concept that we're bringing in, then 6 Oneal can really kind of like help to bring in this understanding of what we might need, what resources we might need to take that project forward, and perhaps give us an understanding of how to get them and where to get them from as well. You know, how do we really bring stability to help this to mature? How do we really tap in to, you know, kind of like the above and below in order to ripen our new concept? Okay, 6 Oneal might be a great day to be looking into that. It might be a great day to be finishing any other works off that you might need to do in order to get the resources to put into your new concept. From 6 Oneal, we then move into 7 Toch. And so here we see the Nawal Toch, offering, payment and giving. Now, as always, you will find in the accompanying text, you will find the addresses or websites of a few organisations that I personally know that I think is well worth, you know, kind of like giving a donation to if that's something that you feel that you would like to do. Toch is here to help us to balance, to help us to remember to pay back for what we might have received or taken. And here we see it with the number 7, which can represent balance. It can represent decisions and choices, which, you know, maybe we can't give to all of them. We've got to choose one to give to. They all look like good causes, but like we've got to choose one. But it's also about finality. It's also about endings. And if we see Toch as representing a debt, then the 7 is about finishing it off. It's about like making the final payment. And I think that this can be a really, really interesting day. So, you know, kind of is clearing the slate. Now, we're going into this time where, as I said, you know, the whole theme of this Trecena, the one Aq'ab'al, they're bringing the new concept into reality. We don't want to go into it carrying a debt, burdened by a debt that, you know, we maybe should have resolved a long time ago. 7 Toch gives us the opportunity to pay that off, gives us the opportunity to sort of like get things done once and for all. So it's a great day to be maybe looking into those things. Is this something you're still carrying that's hampering you from moving forward in the world? Then 7 Toch is a great day to resolve it, either through literally a physical payment or through doing some work towards resolving it, making a sacrifice, making an offering in order to do that. Okay, and from there we're then going into 8Z. So Z, the Nawal of faith and loyalty, the Nawal of justice and law, and here combined with the number 8 representing wholeness. So we can see Z is a very multi-layered Nawal as far as I can see, or it has many meanings to it, because you have faith and loyalty, you have justice, you have law, you have guidance, and you have authority. All of those ideas and understandings can be combined or can be, you know, found within the Nawal Z. It's about having faith, and here we see it with the 8 representing the wholeness. Now the 8 takes us through the light and it takes us through the dark. It takes us through the cycle of life and then it takes us through the cycle of death. It's the wholeness. Maybe that's why it's a day of ceremony. And so it's understanding that we have to go through that whole cycle in order to really have faith in something, and maybe that's exactly what we need for our new concept to come in. Okay? There is trust. And once again, it's kind of like we need to see this in wholeness to understand what to trust, who to trust, when to trust, and all that kind of thing, and to trust in ourselves, to trust in our judgment. This is something that we need to bring in if we're going to follow this new concept through. We can also see that there is something there with regards to temptation. It's understanding that, kind of like, well, maybe sometimes we're supposed to, let's say, get rid of our vices. We're supposed to be able to kind of clean ourselves up in one way or another. Maybe we did that in the Trecena of Tihash, and maybe we fell off the wagon again. Maybe we're beating ourselves up about falling off the wagon because that old pattern, that old vice has come back again. Well, there's also something with it, kind of like with Z. It's kind of like there's always a time to let go of it. There's always a time to say, right, okay, I trust in my guidance, I trust in the way that things are going, and it's time to clean myself up again. Maybe there's that part of it, of overcoming the vices. And I think the other thing that we see in there is also with the law and the application of the law. 8C being a day of celebration of the natural laws, of things coming to justice, of things coming into the correct balance, so that the world that we live in is balanced, so that justice is done and things come to harmony. Okay, so there's a great deal to unpack on that day. The 8th day is often the day of ceremony, so there's going to be a ceremony to ask for guidance. It's going to be a ceremony to ask for the renewal of trust, of loyalty. It can also be a day for ceremony to ask for justice. From 8T, we then move into the rather wonderful day of 9 bats, Belachem bats. Now, sometimes this is known as the day of creation of woman. And I think that there's also possibly a different slant on that. The day of the creativity of women. The day of the creativity of life. We see bats, which can represent the weaving, which can represent creativity and the arts and all that kind of thing, but it can also represent gestation. And we see it with the number 9, which we can see as representing the 9 lunations of gestation. And so we see these two things coming together. This is about weaving new life. What better while to have kind of like in this position within this Trecena of conception, of new concepts, than the weaving of new life coming in. And so it's a great day to be putting your life into whatever creative project that you want to bring in. Now, of course, it's a great day to be working with the creative essence of women. It's a great day for feminine creativity. It's a great day for engaging with the arts and bringing your life into them. So this is why 9 bats, we might, if you were to go to San Juan La Laguna, for example, I'm sure that you'll find weaving cooperatives there called Belachem bats. They're women's weaving cooperatives, and so we understand how strong the feminine essence is within this day, and how, in particular, the arts of the woman are highlighted on that day. So, if you've got something to, let's say, create on that day, it might be a great day to go for it if you're female. And if not, it might be a great day to, appreciate the creativity, appreciate the life that's brought in to the world through. From 9 bats, we then move to 10 the Oneal of the path, the Oneal of the road, the Oneal of the journey. And perhaps we can see this new concept that we're working with as being a new journey that we're on. And whenever we go on a new journey, of course, we need a little bit of help. Okay? And this might come in through this 10 day, because that 10 day can be seen as hands coming together. It can be seen as cooperation. Of course, we could understand, on 10 we could understand walking hand in hand on the road. I mean, that's a given. I mean, it's a great day to get together with your friends, with your family, perhaps with your community, and go on a journey together. However that might be, wherever that might take you. It might be a mental journey, a physical journey, spiritual journey, or an emotional journey together. But one thing's for sure, whenever we kind of like walk on the path, it's kind of more fun to do it with other people, right? We know that sometimes we are going to have to take kind of like take our own way and that kind of thing. But for me, 10 very much kind of like shows us how we can walk on the path together. Okay? It might be a great day to select who it is that you would choose to walk on the path hand in hand with, you know? It'd be of course, a great day, kind of like for this, I was going to say a community ramble, as it were, kind of like get your friends around you and go out for a walk wherever it might take you, or a journey to somewhere. A great day for a road trip, as it were. But that cooperative nature of the 10 is also kind of like helping each other along the way, helping each other to get over the challenges that we might face on the road. As we take this new path, perhaps that's exactly what we need to do, kind of get in touch with each other and realize that we're not alone, realize that there is help out there if we ask for it. From 10 we then go to 11 and this is a kind of like an odd combination in a way, I think, anyway. I often see as being rather down to earth, let's say. The home, the community, it has to be in one place, really, because, it's difficult to be the leader of a community if you don't have a community around you. It's difficult to be the father of the family if you don't have a family, that kind of thing. And that's what we can see with there's that leadership. It's like a leader with no one to lead. I mean, what do they do in the world? And this is where can kind of like fall down. So we often might find very bonded with a particular place, and that might even be the place of their family, the place where they grew up, the place where they've been for generations, because that's what does best within the home, within the village. So when we combine that with the number 11, well, the number 11 is, kind of like going off in very many different ways. The number 11 is, it's almost like the exact opposite of the Whereas wants to stay put, the number 11 kind of like moves us in different ways. Comes very intuitively, where might want to, kind of like read the manual and really go through all the documentation and all that kind of thing. 11 wants to throw the manual away and kind of like work it out as they go along, using their intuition, taking the uncommon path, the unusual or the illogical path. We could see as being really rather logical, and 11 we can see as being really rather spontaneous. So it's a really interesting kind of like thing to bring together. And so when we see that 11 day, I mean, this may well bring some spontaneity into the things which might have become routine. Okay? One of the things that I think that many of us maybe have overcome at some point, we turn up in a new place, a new organization with a new concept, let's say. And we sort of say, well, they explain to us how something is done. We say, why is it done like that? Oh, well, that's the way it's always been done. Well, do you think that maybe we should change it? It doesn't seem very efficient. Well, that's the way we've always done it. Why would we change it? It's kind of like the 11 is that change coming along, because it's that change to, sometimes can be like authority. It can be rather rigid in its way, and the 11, the flexibility and intuitive nature of the 11 comes along to kind of shift it. If represents harmony in society, it's like, okay, well, harmony in society is what we're aiming for, but is harmony what we're achieving right now? Have following the same old routines got us to the point where we're actually falling out of harmony, and we need some new inspiration and intuition to come in and kind of like following the same old routine is not bringing the results that we need, and so we need to go and look in different directions to bring it in. And maybe 11 is exactly the day to bring that kind of like that new blood into the leadership, that new idea into community, in order to actually bring it into harmony. From 11 we then move into 12 Ish. So we see the Nawal Ish, the Nawal of our connection with the Mother Earth, the Nawal of the connection with the sacred, and the Nawal of, well, for want of better words, our magic. And here we see it with the number 12. The number 12, which can represent the bundling together, the wrapping up of all of our life experiences. And so when we see it with Ish, this can be our understanding that there are many different ways in which we can connect with the earth. There are many different altars on the land. Now, we might be in front of a beautiful Mayan temple, a grand pyramid. It might be a cave. It might be a hollowed out tree stump. I have to say that I feel this is almost like some kind of earth altar rooted down into the heart of the earth I'm sitting in right now. It may be that we have to draw on this experience to understand that there are many different ways that we can connect with Mother Earth, and our life experience has shown us that. It may also be that in this time, as we're bringing in this new concept, we have to go back and understand, kind of like the experiences that we've gone through in our lives that have helped us connect with the magic of Mother Earth and with the magic that we bring into the world as well. And so 12 Ish may be a great day to consolidate those things, to have a bit of a review about it and understand kind of like how to draw those things together, how to draw our connection from our life experiences in order to bring our connection with Mother Earth forwards. Finally, we finish this Trecena on the day 13 Tzikin. Tzikin, the Nawal of the vision. Tzikin, the Nawal of the visionary. And here, combined with the number 13, the number of spirit, we can understand this may be a powerful day for receiving visions. This is what that new concept is being drawn forward by in some ways. If we see the one Aq'ab'al, the new concept that we began with, and where is it transforming into? 13 Tzikin, the vision of the ancestors. This is something that we may be working towards, but it's also something that we may be able to tap into on that day 13 Tzikin. Now, I'm talking to you on this day of 13 Eek, and I mentioned about the important messages that may come through from Spirit, the important messages that may come through from your ancestors. And here, kind of like on 13 Eek, I'm thinking it very much as, coming through in words in some way, the communication, either being verbal or however it might be, but, receiving that message like that. With 13 Tzikin, I see it as much more visual. It's a day to keep your eyes open for visual signs that are going to carry you forwards. Your cheerleading that may come from the ancestors on that day to say, yes, you're going on the right path. The understanding that's going to take you forwards in the application, in the development of the new concept that you want to bring in. This is a day to ask for the vision that's going to guide you forward on it. A day which you can understand how to take that to prosperity. That prosperity meaning thriving. How are you going to make it thrive? Well, 13 Tzikin is certainly a day on which to ask for that vision to come, whether it's from the ancestors, from Spirit, whoever it might come from. It's a day for the focus to come from there. Because with Tzikin, I really see it as, understanding how to focus on the vision that you're working towards. And here, kind of like we might ask for the strength of the Spirit, strength of ancestors to help us to work on that. So, I hope that has been an interesting video for you, and I look forward to seeing you in 13 days' time for the Trecena of Aq'ab'al. Thank you.